Well, you know what I say. You never say never in wrestling, and now we can never say never, because never will always tell you that never is never. What? But we're coming off Money in the Bank 2025, my friends, and not in my wildest dreams did I think I was going to be talking to you about the return of Ron Killings, the return of R-Truth. This made me feel warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. It made me feel good in my tootsie toes. It's absolutely wonderful, and before we get into it, we'll talk about the whole work shoot thing in just 1 second. Ron Killings himself, and I believe his son, have tweeted this wasn't a work, and of course it wasn't a work. You would never fire R-Truth, as well as Carlito and Sarah Logan, for a storyline, and if you did, that is completely despicable. So let's just take it for what it is. I don't mind WWE having some fun with it, whatever they're going to do. I still think it was a mistake, but that kind of leads me on to my first point. At least they rectified their mistake, because it never should have happened in the first place, and I would much rather, much like the We Want Cody stuff from WrestleMania 14, WWE always gets back on track and, for lack of a better term, does the thing that the fans want, because that is all professional wrestling is. And when it comes to R-Truth, it was a special case, as I talked about on that video, and I'll probably talk about tomorrow too. There's just a connection with that man. Maybe it's tenure, maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's just because he's a funny so-and-so. And as he is coming back as Ron Killings, maybe he gets one last serious run. I wouldn't mind that, because again, while I'm always happy for him to make me laugh, we'll use that word again, because I have a connection with him. If he starts winning matches, if he goes after a championship, if he has some success, that's only going to make me happy. And why do I watch a wrestling show? Because I want to use my entertainment hours in the right way. But it was wonderful. I'd rather we didn't get there the way that we did do, because it's quite heartbreaking. I'm sure Ron Killings and his family didn't enjoy doing it this way. But when he did interfere in that main event, as we talked about on these videos, I wasn't not a fan of that tag match, but wasn't really massively into it. It just justified all of it, and it made me feel like a kid again, because nobody saw this coming. It did make you go, what the hell is going down here? It was just one of those moments that, I use the word again, that made me happy. And I couldn't believe it. And he came in with the stupid hood gimmick, which everybody does in modern day wrestling, because apparently that turns you into a ghost. Just lovely, awesome, excellent, spectacular, incredible. That's what wrestling is all about. And R-Truth doesn't know me. He doesn't know no random bald guy on the internet. But I've watched him for so many years. And as I talked about on social media, I think more specifically, there was some times, because he was there so long, that wrestling, especially WWE, was absolute crap, but he always found a way to make it work, and he always found a way to put a smile on my face and make me laugh, which could have been one of the reasons I stuck with it. So we'll move on from there. One of the best things and worst things to happen in 2025, which is somehow the way that wrestling operates. But no, it wasn't a work. This is what went down, but I don't mind a pivot. I don't think it's a good thing or a bad thing. And also, I don't mind being worked as long as there's not some obvious things sort of attached to it. But that's why we watch wrestling. You're not having the wall pull over your eyes. Doesn't make you a mark. Oh, there's so many messages like that today. Doesn't make you a nerd. Doesn't make you a geek. Oh no, it does make you a nerd. But being a nerd is the best thing ever. Who the flub doesn't want to be a nerd? We all know how that works. But you don't have to be offended. No one should go, ha ha, like Nelson Muntz from The Simpsons. You watch to have the wall pulled over your eyes. You should always be tricked. It should always be like magic. Then you go, oh, you so-and-sos. And that's the same for WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, Impact, whoever it may be. Now, this isn't the case, but I did want to talk about that, because there's always a side conversation that seems to go down. R-Truth, Ron Killings is back. I'm going to buy that new t-shirt. By the way, it's not a brand new t-shirt. He wore that in February. Just want to put that out there too, before the comments do go nuts. But hey, do go talk in the comments amongst yourself. That's what you're there. And also, you can subscribe to the Patreon. Cheap plug, patreon.com/Simon316. The watch along is going on. And we did an R-Truth match this week, whereas now it was meant to be done for sentimental reasons. What are you going to do? Otherwise, I thought Money in the Bank was really, really good. Both Money in the Bank matches I thought were excellent. I know I'm going to sound like an A-hole here, so forgive me, but given that I do wrestle, and by the way, before Money in the Bank yesterday, I did go to Chaos Wrestling here in the UK and became their internet champion. It was a street fight, would you know? It was a 6-month feud too, so it was a big deal, so I just wanted to show that off. But it makes me realise when I watch people taking these risks, and of course we can both understand it. I'm just saying, when you do wrestling, it kind of opens up your brain a little bit more. It's just mad what they do. I mean, again, I was in that street fight last night, and there was kendo sticks, I got welts all over my back, and there were tables and chairs, and it hurts, man. Like, it really hurts. So when you're increasing height to the situation, which is scary, and you're getting accidentally shots to the groinal region, which is what happened to Andrade, it's just, I don't get how they do it sometimes. And of course, I'm sure if we were put in that same situation, we would do our best. But it's the way they pull off these spots, I suppose, to use the correct word, so effortlessly, that truly blows my mind. And we'll focus on the women's match because that was first. But everybody, like Roxanne, Stephanie, and Julia, who I guess we call the new faces, they have just totally established themselves on the main roster in record time. That shows how talented they are. And then Rhea Ripley is the most over thing on the planet, and she's only going to get bigger. I understand there's always going to be detractors, and more power to you, but your reasonings are nuts. I don't understand how you can't see the potential she does have. Alexa Bliss is kind of similar too, like fans just warmed to her. And this Naomi character finally paid off. Like we go back to WrestleMania. My big thing about a heel turn is that eventually you have to do something successful. Otherwise you're Shinsuke Nakamura. It's like, all right, you turn heel Shinsuke, but all you did was punch AJ Styles right in the penis. Whereas Naomi now has that Money in the Bank. And I think when she cashes it in, that 100% success rate should continue because that character was just made for it. So I was super happy with that result. And I like the sort of the sub-quest that Rhea Ripley's never been in these kind of matches before, so maybe she's at a disadvantage. She had the devil's kiss into the chair. I think they get confused sometimes, but I think it was the razor's edge in this match, and there was that dragon screw by Stephanie, and everybody's heads just go smashing into everything. Julia set up this bizarre Mario Kart track, and she was running across it as a Grande Americano did later. It's just chaos. It's just Dr. Robotnik's match, right? And it's kind of tough to talk about because it is you go into a ladder, you go into a ladder, oh, you're here, you're going to go into a ladder, oh, you go into a ladder now. Someone climbs up, you then fall down. We've got a couple of code reds onto a ladder, riptides, and who knows what else. It is like watching a moving car wreck, and this is a little bit of a grotesque thing to say, but I can totally understand why somebody would watch this and never see wrestling and be like, now I'm going to watch forever. The commentators tried to ruin that in the men's one, when Wade Barrett was like, El Grande Americano, he's not American, and Chad Gable can't be the same guys, because they have different nipples. Kind of looked around my room, was like, did I hear that? Or have I accidentally spoken drugs, but what are you going to do? But I just thought it was awesome. I just think it's excellent. I always try and watch it sort of move for move. And some of the impacts that they are taking just look totally disgusting. And Roxanne Perez especially, because she is quite slight, just looked like she was being folded up like an accordion. She was bumping her ass off. And of course it ended with Naomi. Who did she take out? I think it was Alexa Bliss and Rhea Ripley. After they had done their respective finishes, she just did the classic, well, I'm going to push you down to the ground because you've decided not to be on the hard floor, and she grabbed it. And this got quite a big pop. And I think that's nice because I think it kind of sent a message that Naomi's been doing this graft for ages. Don't forget she left the company, she came back, she was in Impact for a while. So to get that full circle, I think is nice, especially because she can be, and I said this before, and it sounds terrible, I mean it as a good way, not a transitional champion, but she can be a champion that cashes in whenever in the next 6 months, holds it for a couple of months, and then drops it to somebody else. It will still count and it will still be good because WWE needs to put some people in positions at the moment where they can lose those championships quite quickly, so not every single world title reign is long. I'm not saying I want that for Naomi. I'm saying that she's so good as a character and she brings so much to the product more than just being a champion. Not everybody can do that. Some people, like if you gave it to somebody random that I can't think of right now, an Ivy Nile, I almost think, well, you could argue that both ways, but I think she would need longer, otherwise you're really going to put her in a position. Whereas if you did it to Naomi, she's going to be perfectly fine because she's Naomi and she's got that stock that she has been built up. And listen, Seth Rollins winning the Money in the Bank, you may have known if you watched my predictions, I had a full house. I didn't know about the Dominic Mysterio match, but otherwise I smashed this beat for beat with the Naomi thing. No, with the Becky Lynch thing. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I was surprised that so many people thought LA Knight was going to win. When had that been hinted at? Like Seth Rollins winning this to me was the whole point of the group. They laid it out in the promo that was, once I control that, I control the show, and that's what I want to do. I think that's why Gunther versus Jey Uso is happening in 24 hours. I think Seth Rollins is going to cash in. I think he may even make it a triple threat match because then he has more enemies against him, both Jey Uso and Gunther and everybody else that wants to throw their name into the mix. Maybe I'm being a bit overboard on that one, but I wouldn't say I'm confident, but I certainly have a feeling that we could do that. And I wouldn't mind it either for all the reasons we just talked about with Naomi. I think Jey Uso could be that guy because it's going to give him more sympathy. So maybe it's the antithesis to Naomi. Naomi can be such a good heel, like, serves you right. Whereas be like, no, Jey, this is not fair on you. And it kind of gives Gunther a new reason to sort of head off in a different direction as well. Although apparently he needs to fight Goldberg soon. That weekend in July is going to be crazy. But this was the same damn thing. Now, I suppose the only negative here was it Firebrand, the sponsored ladder? I don't think WWE has timed this well with the Slim Jim table and the Firebrand ladder. Just do the Firebrand ladder, wait off with the Slim Jim stuff. It doesn't bother me because I'm like, I don't need this to drag my life down. But seeing the Creeds and Chad Gable cut a promo and they're dropping in promotional goods, like you're watching a movie, there's a big Apple Mac logo in your face. It's a little bit tiresome already, but let's just see how badly they go with it. But I wasn't a fan of it. But El Grande Americano / Chad Gable, what a night he had in the AAA show as well. That Vikingo match had some of the most insane spots I've seen. And then he was doing it again here. Like at one point, yeah, he created like his own Mario Kart track to get where he needed to go. He was doing ankle locks on top of the ladder, I think it was, on Seth Rollins. And this was another one, which was like, you're all going into ladders. We're all going to smash you into the face. But we had more story in this one. Obviously, Seth Rollins' group came out. Now, I groaned, but not because Seth Rollins' group came out, but because destructions and confusions and interference should be reserved for them. That's the whole point, but now it's all over the show, so you get diminishing returns by the time Seth does it, because he's always going to be in the main event. But what I really liked when the Bloodline came to sort of make it 50-50, the crowd reacted to that, so we'd done our work on SmackDown. It was Bron Breakker that speared JC Mateo through the barricade, and then Jacob for 2 absolutely murked Bronson Reed, which was awesome. But then he did the I love it. I said on Ups and Downs. Make sure you check out Money in the Bank Ups and Downs. Just watch me all day. Why the flub not? I know I'm annoying, but it's a get mad. Hate watching is the best thing on the internet. But Solo Sikoa was like, oh yeah, I'm a sports entertainee. Therefore, Solo, I'm not going to punch you in the face just yet. I'm going to pretend that I'm your friend. And just as Solo Sikoa was halfway up the ladder, he pulls him off and says, I hate you, Solo. Because why wouldn't you build up a catchphrase and then switch it? He gives him the kick of the super. He gives him the PME, the prettiest moonsault ever. It was awesome. And I actually like it for 2 reasons. One, we have teased it for long enough. It's not like it came out of nowhere. But also, Jacob for 2 heard them say horrible things on SmackDown. You could have eked it out a bit longer like Batista did in Evolution. But I think he's a different character. He's more unhinged. And I would find it harder to believe he heard that and then went, I'm going to manipulate you, as opposed to I heard that and now I'm going to murder you because I don't like it. So I thought that worked wonders. I think we can do it at SummerSlam. I think Jacob for 2 should win. Solo Sikoa was also the MVP of this in many ways. He's so damn funny. At the start, everyone after Seth, because Seth's a dickhead. Then they went after Solo Sikoa for the same reasons, but it's just his mannerisms, the things he says. I'm big into Solo right now, man. I'm going to buy some merch, I think, which is, I don't buy a lot of merch, but I'll buy the people that sort of get to that next level. Like Mr. Iguana, by the way, going to buy all those t-shirts. And we did it at El Grande as well. But after we had done that twist, I suppose, Attitude Era spin, Seth Rollins goes to climb up. LA Knight had been murdered by, it was Seth Rollins' group. And I think, maybe in hindsight, that wasn't a great idea. Because at first I thought, oh, they've done that to show you this is why he can't win because it's totally unfair. But then they had him as the guy to try and stop Seth. Seth just destroyed his skull and gave him the stop, climbed and got the briefcase. Because I never thought LA Knight was going to win, I wasn't disappointed. I know some people really got upset about this, which I think is good. It means you're emotionally connected. It goes back to the R-Truth chat. I like Seth with the briefcase. I don't think it matters that Drew McIntyre cashed in super fast last year and that we're going to do it again. We still have the women's one, which we can eke out. There's rumours that Triple H doesn't like these briefcases, so maybe he's happy just to shift them along. But I think as long as it serves the story, like people were saying, oh, Seth Rollins doesn't need it. Yes, Seth Rollins the character. Sorry, Seth Rollins the human being as a wrestler doesn't need it because he's goated for life. But Seth Rollins, a brand new character, absolutely needs it, especially if he's the guy to screw over Jey Uso. So great matches all around. Dom versus Liv, that's not right, Dom with Liv versus Octagon Jr. I liked it because Octagon Jr. I've watched a few times, so seeing him on this stage, they smashed it. It was Lucha Libre. This is what I mean. Liv Morgan cast, interference, distraction, blah, blah, blah. Dom hits the 619, the frog splash. This is why you need these kind of matches. It was short and it was fun, and it broke up the pay-per-view super nicely. So, next time we do 5 matches, I know this was 5, but if you've got 5 and they're going quite long, you want to add a 6 like this, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. And I think Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria is the best match on the show. Becky and Lyra have tremendous chemistry. Becky has gone into this to try and elevate Lyra, which she's done. Becky Lynch winning the Women's Intercontinental Championship will also elevate that. So everybody is winning here, especially the women's division, which is Becky's big thing. And she won with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, and she held the tights. What I loved about this is the camera missed it first time intentionally. The commentators then hinted at it, so we did a 180, and you saw it. Sometimes you don't need to win in totally heinous means, even though I know I advocated for that. Doesn't always mean that I'm right. But watching this and the wry smile on Becky's face, where she knew what she'd done, was like, meh, almost like I've got more experience than you. Then Lyra has to hold her hand up, which she does do, and exactly as we said on the predictions, like the nerd I am, Lyra drops with a German suplex, and now we got to do it again. I think maybe they could sort of spin off into many directions if you could justify it before coming back together in a stipulation at SummerSlam. I don't think you do need to do that, but given that SummerSlam is like 6 weeks away, maybe Becky with the IC Championship for longer would be better because she's Becky Lynch, right? And again, it's just going to heighten it. But if they go to SummerSlam and have a banger match in a hardcore Street Fighter, Falls Count Anywhere, whatever you want to do, probably want to justify it a bit better than that. I think it's still going to help, right? It's still going to head in the right direction. It was just such a well-worked wrestling match. There was some really good 1-2-oohs, some really good kickouts. They murdered each other on the floor, even though we had the Money in the Bank stuff. They just worked together. And I think it could be on course if we nail the 3rd match, or technically the 5th match, if we want to sort of spread it out over the last few years. It's got to be talked about as at least one of the best modern-day feuds when it comes to the women's division, because it's really, really, really good. And if you've got, kind of been that long, 18 minutes maybe, 15, maybe a bit less, you should watch it. Just watch it from a technical standpoint if you want to be a super nerd. Really good. And the main event was fine. If R-Truth hadn't have been in it, I don't think I would have had much to say. So everything that we started this video with is essentially what I feel about the match. I thought it was nice that Cody got the pin on John Cena. I said it was going to be Logan Paul, so I got that one wrong. But at least I got Cody right, because it does make SummerSlam more interesting. Let's say they do the rematch for the title there. Now there is going to be a part of me that goes, well, of course Cody's going to win, but he did win John Cena at Money in the Bank. Maybe there's a reason for that. And I thought John Cena and Logan Paul falling out was perfect. I mean, it's kind of, I don't call it lame. It's kind of quick, right? And kind of maybe the easy way out. But it worked. Cody Rhodes gets the hot tag. And we got that amazing superplex shot when Logan Paul activated the drone and Jey Uso came in with the splash. That was awesome. And fair play to Logan Paul, man. People do not listen to me when I talk, which is fine. You don't have to. I don't like Logan Paul in the sense he's not one of my guys. Like we just talked about R-Truth. He is one of my guys. Who else is one of my guys at the moment? Mr. Iguana. He would now be one of my guys. It doesn't mean just because I'm not super into somebody else, I don't want them wrestling. I'm happy with Logan Paul wrestling. Totally. He's just not one of my guys. You're going to have this too. Make a list of the entire roster, and some people you're like, oh, can take them or leave them. They're just not for you. But the moonsault he did under the table here, I mean, you got to respect that. That was absolutely crazy. It was kind of incredible, all things considered. He went for a buckshot lariat and he fell over. Everyone jumped on him. It's like, what can he do? He's trying really hard. These things are going to happen. But anyway, the belt shot comes from Cena. That's when R-Truth comes in. Crossroads, 1, 2, 3. Nice and easy finish. It kind of felt like a Raw television match, but I never mind that given everything we had beforehand. And I do want to see the promos now on SmackDown between Cody and Cena. Do we set up the match for SummerSlam? Because if you are going to do that 2 nights in New Jersey, I think it is, you need to jump on it quite quickly. I don't think you want to leave it any later than the next couple of weeks. Although we got Night of Champions first, so maybe you do. I don't know. But I just don't think, I keep saying this, we're going to get to December and do the title change because Cody Rhodes is going to be booed in Boston during John Cena's last match. So it was a decent pay-per-view. I had a good time. Totally elevated because of the R-Truth stuff. Hence why I just keep coming back to it. I just cannot believe it, and I'm so happy it did happen. But of course, a shout out to the other people that got released. I think it's quite a hard balance to take. And another reason why it's not a work. Nothing should be that convoluted. But it was a fun time, right? And I still like the Money in the Bank concept, which is why I think that Seth Rollins should cash in. I think that's a really good way in keeping it interesting and not sort of bogging down the product. We've got 2 briefcases we're watching on Raw and SmackDown all of the time. That's probably something we have to watch for as well from now on, because Naomi's a SmackDown person and Seth Rollins is a Raw person. Don't get to the point where we're doing 4 Money in the Banks. That'd be way too much. After watching this, though, I don't think Money in the Bank should ever be 2 nights. And I think next year it probably is going to be, because WWE is heading the wrong direction. Also announced that WrestleMania going back to Las Vegas. Probably do another video on that. But yeah, I think that'll be overkill. 2 nights. I just don't think it works, but we'll see what happens. But it was a fun show. It was a really, really fun show. And just, hell yeah, R-Truth. Let's get it out there now in case it happens again. One of my favorites ever. Top 10 for sure, because I watch to be entertained. Because it's a stupid thing to say. Well, I watch to be entertained, man. And he entertains me, so I'm standing by it. Now tell me how dumb I am in those comments down there. I'd massively appreciate it. As if you are clicking, you may as well click the like, the share, the subscribe, and the notification bell. If you want some of my other wrestling nonsense, probably from SmackDown, click the video on the screen now. That helps the most. Don't have to watch. Just leave. YouTube doesn't know if you're watching. It can't feel your eyes yet. That'll happen one day. Otherwise, patreon.com/Simon316. Like I say, to join watch-alongs. GorillaMind.com/Simon. Ships worldwide. Use code Simon, get 10% off. The supplements rule, right? They just do. That's why I promote them. That's why I'm happy to be affiliated with them. Otherwise, come and get a TikTok, especially for Father's Day. They're cheap right now. They're always cheap, to be honest. Simon Miller, Simon J. Miller on TikTok for all manner of things, and Pro Wrestling Tees and BigCartel.com for merch. I'd love it if you could buy a tee, because that supports the channel too. Mostly, I appreciate you. Have a great day. We can actually rest for a day now, and then, yes, all the wrestling does come back, but at least we'll have stuff to talk about, and I will see you then.